Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be reacting to KALISTA, the Spear of Vengeance. If this is your first time checking out the channel, what we're going to do is we're going to look at KALISTA's biography and story first. We'll move on to any gameplay cinematics she might have. We'll take a look at the skins, and we'll look at the Fandom Wiki and the voice lines at the very end of this video. So KALISTA is somebody I know like a tiny bit about because of the Ruination event, but we don't fully know KALISTA's story. I know KALISTA at some point was like very close with Viego. And then she was kind of like ousted from Viego during the Ruination event. And also, I do know KALISTA is technically an older champion than Viego, so maybe was her lore like reworked when that whole Ruination event happened? I have no idea. I guess we'll have to find out. And then I do know there's a lot of KALISTA in, I think, the Ruination event, like book or whatever that is written, the novel that is out for League of Legends, also I think has a lot of KALISTA in it. Other than that, though, I don't really know KALISTA's story, so I'm excited to learn more about her. Starting with the quote, "Turncoats, Oathbreakers, and betrayers, we hate them all." Okay. Role is Marksman, region is Shadow Isles. And then we have Hecarim, Thresh, and Yorick as our related champions. Not Viego in here. Am I wrong on the Viego thing? We'll find out. An undying specter of wrath and retribution, KALISTA is an armored nightmare summoned from the Shadow Isles to hunt deceivers and traitors. The betrayed may cry out in blood to be avenged, but KALISTA only answers those willing to pay with their very souls. Those who become the focus of KALISTA's wrath should make their final peace, for any pact sealed with this grim hunter can only be ended by the cold, piercing fire of her soul spears. She sounds pretty scary. In life, KALISTA was a proud general, niece to the king of an empire that none now recall. Okay, so there it is, niece to Viego. She lived by a strict code of honor, serving the throne with utmost loyalty. The king had many enemies, and when he sent an assassin to slay him, it was KALISTA's vigilance that averted disaster. But in saving the king, she damned the one he loved most. The assassin's deflected blade was envenomed and sliced the arm of the queen. Ah, okay, that's the reasoning why she was like, yeah, see, now it's all coming back to me. The greatest priests and surgeons were summoned, but none could draw the poison from her body. Racked with grief, the king dispatched KALISTA in search of a cure, with Hecarim of the Iron Order taking her place at his side. KALISTA traveled far, consulting learned scholars, hermits, and mystics, but to no avail. Finally, she learned of a place protected from the outside world by shimmering pale mist, whose inhabitants were rumored to know the secrets of eternal life. She set sail on one last voyage of hope to the almost legendary Blessed Isles. Guardians of the capital city, Helia, saw the purity of KALISTA's intent and parted the mist to allow her safe passage. She begged them to heal the queen, and after much consideration, the masters of the city agreed. Time was of the essence. While the queen yet breathed, there was hope for her in the fabled waters of life. KALISTA was given a talisman that would allow her to return to Helia unaided, but was warned against sharing this knowledge with any other. However, by the time KALISTA reached the shores of her homeland, the queen was already dead. The king had descended into madness, locking himself in his tower with the queen's festering corpse. When he learned of KALISTA's return, he demanded to know what she had found. With a heavy heart, for she had never before failed him, she admitted that the cure she had found would be of no use. The king would not believe this and condemned KALISTA as a traitor to the crown. Okay, so I was pretty on point with that one then. I wasn't able to recall that she was like part of like why the queen ended up dying though. It was Hecarim who persuaded her to lead them to the Blessed Isles, where her uncle could hear the truth of it from the masters themselves. Then perhaps he would find peace, even if only in accepting that the queen was gone and allowing her to be laid to rest. Hesitantly, KALISTA agreed. Well, we know how this goes. And so the king set out with a flotilla of his fastest ships and cried out in joy as the glittering city of Helia was revealed to him. However, they were met by the stern masters who would not allow them to pass. Death, they insisted, was final. To cheat it would be to break the natural order of the world. The king flew into a fevered rage and commanded KALISTA to slay any who opposed them. She refused and called on Hecarim to stand with her, but instead he drove his spear through her armored back. Wow, okay, so Hecarim ends up killing KALISTA. The Iron Order joined him in this treachery, piercing KALISTA's body a dozen times more as she fell. Whoa, this is like some Julius Caesar stuff here. A brutal melee erupted, with those devoted to KALISTA fighting desperately against Hecarim's knights, but their numbers were too few. As KALISTA's life faded and she watched her warriors die, swearing vengeance with her final breath. That's scary. If somebody like swears vengeance upon their death, like that's crazy. When next KALISTA opened her eyes, they were filled with the dark power of unnatural magic. She had no idea what had transpired, but the city of Helia had been transformed into a twisted mockery of its former beauty. Indeed, the entirety of the Blessed Isles was now a place of shadow and darkness, filled with howling spirits trapped for all eternity in the nightmare of undeath. Though she tried to cling to those fragmented memories of Hecarim's monstrous betrayal, they have slowly faded in all the centuries since, and all that now remains is a thirst for revenge burning in KALISTA's ruined chest. She has become a specter, a figure of macabre folklore, often invoked by those who have suffered similar treacheries. These wretched spirits are subsumed into hers to pay the ultimate price, becoming one with the Spirit of Vengeance. Okay, this is kind of a cool biography. We don't really get like the origin of like how Kalista came to be. Like, I guess she's just the niece of Viego, so that's how she rose kind of to her power in Camivore and stuff. But other than that, like, she was just like the person that dealt with assassins trying to kill Viego, and then she had the bad thing happen, and so on and so forth. And then she ended up getting Julius Caesared, basically stabbed by kind of like a bunch of not her people, I guess it was Hecarim's knights, but still a pretty tragic story to her. But she seems to be pretty scary in the afterlife here. So this is a cool biography. Let's go ahead and find out what the story is going to be about. All right, our story is called Invocation. The sword wife stood amid the burnt out ruin of her home. Everything and everyone that mattered to her was gone, and she was filled with fathomless grief and hate. Hate was now all that compelled her. She saw again the smile on his face as he gave the order. He was meant to be their protector, but he'd spat upon his vows. Hers was not the only family shattered by the Oathbreaker. The desire to go after him was strong. She wanted nothing more than to plant her sword in his chest and watch the life drain from his eyes, but she knew she would never be able to get close enough to him. He was guarded day and night, and she was but one warrior. She would never be able to fight her way through his battalion alone. Such a death would serve no purpose. She took a shuddering breath, knowing there was no coming back. A crude effigy of a man, formed with sticks and twine, lay upon a fire-blackened dresser. Its body was wrapped in a scrap of cloth torn from the cloak of the betrayer. She'd pried it from her husband's dead grasp. Alongside it was a hammer and 3 rusted nails. She gathered everything up and moved to the threshold. The door itself was gone, smashed to splinters in the attack. Beyond, lit by moonlight, lay the empty, darkened fields. Reaching up, the sword wife pressed the stick effigy to the hardwood lintel. I invoke thee, Lady of Vengeance, she said, her voice low, trembling with the depth of her fury. From beyond the veil, hear my plea. Come forth, let justice be done. Okay, is somebody summoning Kalista? Is that what's happening? She readied her hammer and the first of the nails. I name my betrayer once, she said, and spoke his name aloud. As she did so, she placed the tip of the first nail to the chest of the stick figure. With a single strike, she hammered it in deep, pinning it to the hardwood doorframe. The sword wife shivered. The room had become markedly colder, or had she imagined it? I name him twice, she said, and she did so, hammering the second nail alongside the first. Her gaze dropped, and she jolted in shock. A dark figure stood out in the moonlit field 100 yards in the distance. It was utterly motionless. Breathing quicker, the sword wife returned her attention to the unfinished task. I name him thrice, she said, speaking again the name of the murderer of her husband and children before hammering home the final nail. An ancient spirit of vengeance stood before her, filling the doorway, and the sword wife staggered back, gasping involuntarily. The otherworldly being was clad in archaic armor, her flesh translucent and glowing with spectral unlight. Black mist coiled around her like a living shroud. This is kind of cool, so you can kind of summon Kalista. With a squeal of tortured metal, the spectral figure drew forth the blackened spear protruding from her breastplate, the ancient weapon that had ended her life. Oh. She threw it to the ground before the sword wife. No words were spoken. There was no need. The sword wife knew what was being offered to her, vengeance, and knew its terrible cost, her soul. Okay, so you can get your vengeance for the cost of your soul. And Kalista takes it. The spirit watched on, her face impassive and her eyes burning with an unrelenting cold fury as the sword wife picked up the treacherous weapon. Pledge myself to vengeance, said the sword wife, her voice quivering. She reversed the spear, aiming the tip inward towards her heart. I pledge it with my blood. I pledge it with my soul. She paused. Her husband would have pleaded for her to turn away from this path. He would have begged her not to condemn her soul for theirs. A moment of doubt gnawed at her. The undying specter watched on. Okay, so Kalista just doesn't even say anything. The sword wife's eyes narrowed as she thought of her husband lying dead, cut down by swords and axes. She thought again of her children sprawled upon the ground, and a resolve hardened like a cold stone in her heart. Her grip tightened upon the spear. Help me, she implored, her decision made. Please help me kill him. She rammed the spear into her chest, driving it in deep. The sword wife's eyes widened and she dropped to her knees. She tried to speak, but only blood bubbled from her lips. This is kind of a cool story that, again, I wouldn't mind a cinematic for. The ghostly apparition watched her die, her expression impassive. As the last of the lifeblood ran from her body, the shade of the sword wife climbed to her feet. She looked down at her insubstantial hands in wonder, then at her own corpse lying dead-eyed in a growing pool of blood upon the floor. The shade's expression hardened and a ghostly sword appeared in her hand. Ooh, okay. An ethereal tether, little more than a wisp of light, linked the newly formed shade to her. An ethereal tether, little more than a wisp of light, linked the newly formed shade to the avenging spirit she had summoned. Through their bond, the sword wife saw her differently, glimpsing the noble warrior she had been in life, tall and proud, her armor gleaming. Oh, interesting. Her posture was confident, yet without arrogance. A born leader, a born soldier. This was a commander the sword wife would have willingly bled for. Behind the spirit's anger, she sensed her empathy, recognition of their shared pain of betrayal. Oh, that's interesting. Your cause is our cause, said Kalista, the spear of vengeance. Her voice was grave cold. We walk the path of vengeance as one now. The sword wife nodded. With that, the avenging spirit and the shade of the sword wife stepped into the darkness and were gone. Oh, that's such an interesting thing that like Kalista can do. Basically, other people that want vengeance upon something, Kalista can be summoned and like you got to take your own life or give your soul or whatever, and then like Kalista will be there and she will help you take your vengeance. That's kind of cool. And it's also interesting that we actually get to see that Kalista can like feel empathy for others because she also knows the pain of betrayal. And like she's still able to like in the afterlife or as an undead person, like she still can have that, right? That's very interesting. Cool. I really like the story. I think it's a really interesting take on a champion because I don't think we've had anything like this so far. So cool. Let's go ahead and move on to the rest of her reaction. All right, let's dive into this 9-year-old new champion teaser for Kalista called The Pledge. And I believe I've seen it when I ran through cinematics a long time ago, but let's get a refresher on this bad boy. 9 years ago. Where were you guys 9 years ago?
How could you betray us like this?
Because I could. Because I wanted to. It ain't about the money. It ain't all about the money.
Now, who is that talking? Is that anybody specific?
With my dying breath, I offer my soul to thee. Lady of Vengeance.
Okay.
Let justice be done.
Oh, okay, okay. So we're getting kind of like the story.
What are you?
We are the Spear of Vengeance. We come for you, Deceiver.
Takes his soul and gets vengeance for him. That's cool.
In your hands.
Open, Samuel!
Dude, that's so scary.
Your pockets overflow with the spoils of treachery.
Take it. Take it off.
She doesn't want that. Oof, the spear. That's cool. What are those like wings, or is that just the spears coming back? Huh. We've come a long way on cinematics and like how HD they get nowadays, but that was still really cool. All right, let's get right into the gameplay spotlight. Also 9 years old, but I looked and I think the abilities are all the same. They might have been tweaked a little bit though, so you guys let me know. We're not going to do this whole video because they're going to talk about items and stuff.
Featuring Kalista, the Spear of Vengeance.
All right, here we go.
We will not at the mercy of those who hide behind magic.
Playstyle and
Only a shadow of her
skins.
former self, Kalista relentlessly hunts traitors and oathbreakers across Runeterra, collecting their souls and growing her strength.
Ooh, a Blood Moon Kalista looks
is a
cool.
uniquely mobile and cooperative marksman who excels when working in concert with her soulbound ally.
Okay.
Kalista begins every game with the Black Spear. This
Okay.
item serves only one purpose, to establish a link between Kalista and an allied champion, usually her lane partner. When Kalista casts the Black Spear on her chosen ally, the pair are soulbound for the rest of the game.
Okay.
Having a
What does that
soulbound
do?
is like having a soulmate, but for killing things. The link grants unique passive and active abilities only available to the pair.
Okay.
Kalista's passive is
Martial
Martial Poise,
Poise.
and it has two important parts. First, Kalista cannot cancel her basic attacks. Once she's winding
Oh.
up that spear, there's no going back.
Okay.
Second, entering a move order during Kalista's
Whoa.
basic attack windup makes her hop in that direction after the attack is complete.
Whoa. She's got a little
Martial Poise
hop.
will probably take some getting used to, especially as Kalista builds attack speed.
That's
But
interesting.
It gives her incredible mobility in combat.
Yeah.
Note that if Kalista leaps backward, she gains a bit of extra distance. Martial Poise's hop distance scales with your boots
Whoa.
rank.
That
For
looks
example,
interesting.
Boots of Speed and Berserker's Greaves each increase the range.
That looks so weird, actually.
Outside of combat, Kallista's movement is limited, but Martial Poise makes her really slippery in a fight.
That's
Constantly
weird
using the short
movement.
hops
I
lets
feel
her
like it's
kite
not easy,
bruisers while
though.
consistently dealing damage.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Kallista's abilities and their interactions are best explained out of order. Let's
Okay.
start with Rend, her E. Rend
E.
passively causes Kalista's basic attacks to lodge spears inside her targets.
Oh.
These spears can stack infinitely on as many targets as she
Infinitely.
wants, but will fall off any target Kalista hasn't attacked for a few seconds.
Okay, okay.
On activation, Kalista rips the spears away, slowing and dealing damage to all nearby rended enemies.
Okay.
The damage is increased for
pretty
every
good.
rend spear lodged in the target, meaning you could hypothetically deal infinite tons of damage.
Slow's pretty good.
If any foe, even a minion, is killed by the activation, the cooldown is immediately refreshed.
Oh, that's nice.
But if no target is killed, the ability goes on cooldown, and Rend's passive is disabled until it comes back up.
Okay. We always like when a
Rend
cooldown
is
gets
a
reset.
considerably low mana cost, making it an efficient tool for last hitting and shoving lanes at all phases of the game. Kalista's W, Sentinel, has a passive
Sentinel.
and an active. The passive only works with Kalista's soulbound partner in crime.
Okay.
If the pair attack the same target within a very brief window, they deal bonus damage based on the target's max health and apply a stack of Rend.
Okay, we like the teamwork.
Sentinel cannot be triggered on the same target for several seconds.
Okay.
If Sentinel deals the killing blow, Kalista gets the credit in gold, regardless of who triggered it. The active part of the ability operates on an ammo system with a substantial cooldown. Kalista sends a Sentinel on a scouting mission.
Oh,
Sentinels
whoa.
patrol back and forth between Kalista's initial cast location and the targeted area a few times before expiring.
That's kind of a cool ability.
Sentinels only grant vision in a cone in front of them.
I mean, it grants you vision, which is nice.
When they spot an enemy champion, Sentinels shriek and follow them for a brief period.
But it looks like you can kill
However,
it.
enemies can destroy Sentinels with basic attacks,
Yeah.
and can sneak up behind them to do so undetected.
Oh,
Carpet boxes
okay.
work too.
That seems kind of weak then, I
Send
feel like.
Sentinels to patrol common gank paths while you're laning.
I mean,
They'll
yeah,
give you
that's
a
still
heads
good.
up when they spot baddies. Kalista's Q, Pierce, fires a spear that deals damage, applies Rend, applies her trigger Sentinel, and stops on the first target struck.
Oh, okay.
Additionally,
So it does,
Pierce
like, all
triggers
three.
Martial Poise, so she can dash right after casting.
Huh.
If Pierce kills an enemy that has active Rend stacks, Pierce pierces through that enemy, adding
Okay.
all those stacks to the next target struck.
Oh, that's kind of a cool combo.
Pierce
Okay.
enhances Kalista's
That's probably not
mobility
easy, though.
because it can trigger Martial Poise outside of combat, allowing her to
Oh.
leap over walls.
We love
Here's
the
some
wall
examples
leap.
of walls you
Okay.
can hop over. Kalista's ultimate is Fate's Call, and is
Fate's
only
Call.
castable when the soulbound pair are near enough for the tether to be visible.
Oh, that's
When
not.
cast, Fate's Call pulls Kalista's soulbound to her and makes that ally untargetable and pacified for a short time.
Interesting. I don't know if an
The
ally would
next
like
part of the
that.
ult is controlled by the soulbound ally. After a moment, the soulbound could right-click to launch themselves in any direction, causing
Okay.
an AoE knockup on impact before rebounding slightly.
But it doesn't do any
Basically,
damage.
Kalista says when, and her soulbound ally says where.
Okay.
Ranged
Huh.
champions casting the second half of Fate's Call rebound slightly farther away than melee ones.
Okay.
If the ally doesn't cast the ability after a few seconds, keep in mind they will automatically rocket forward in the direction Kalista's facing.
They'll just go forward either way. Okay.
Kalista's the rare marksman that can dictate engages. A max range Fate's Call gets fights started in a hurry. Use it in tandem with your soul
Okay,
round
okay.
to initiate or make a pick.
I mean, it gets them in
Teamwork.
there and it bumps them in the air and then like stuns them for half a second. So I mean, that's still a good
Moving
ult.
backward or forward, Kalista's spears always find their target. Collect the souls of your enemies with these elite maneuvers.
All the hopping. I
Spear
feel like you got to
stepping is
get
the essential Kalista
really good
combo.
with your hops
Basic attack
around the
and
map
Pierce
and
as
stuff when
often
you're
as
in combat.
possible.
You guys will have to let me know because from what I've seen, like the very little bit of League and what I've very little bit that I've played, I really haven't seen anybody play Kalista. Is she just totally not used anymore? I want to hear from you guys in the comments on that. She seems like she has not been used that much, but maybe I'm just in games where people aren't using Kalista, or I haven't seen any videos where people are really using Kalista. So you guys let me know in the comments about that. Overall, she seems like she's pretty, like, you got to be pretty good with her because of the hopping around and everything like that. And you're definitely having to work with a teammate, especially with some of your soulbound abilities. So she's very like, I mean, you could still do stuff solo for sure, but she definitely seems like she's a little bit better when she's with a teammate. But other than that, she seems like a fun champion to give a go. All right, so this is kind of cool. We actually have something newer for Kalista. This is only from 3 months ago. It is, she was added to Wild Rift, so they made a trailer for her called Beyond the Mist Kalista Champion trailer. Let's watch this. It's cool that she was added to Wild Rift recently. And she got a whole trailer for her, so that's cool.
KALISTA.
Okay, here she is. Before everything.
Love and happiness could be yours. But are you willing to give up on your promise and leave your home? You would be a wise and just ruler. But how long would your reign be?
Love the artwork in the cinematic already.
Honor the promise you have made. But anticipate that darkness might ensue.
Is this her on her way to Shadow or the Blessed Isles? Whoa, that was cool. Yeah, I assume this is either her way back to Camivore or to the Blessed Isles. When she's like looking for the cure, maybe? That's it? That's all we get in that trailer? Okay, wait, there's got to be a part 2. All right, there is a part 2 to this cinematic as well, so let's watch this. Wait, now who is this guy? What happened? I kind of just like skipped ahead, I feel like. Is this maybe Hecarim before? No, that's Hecarim. Whoa. I assume that guy on the horse is Hecarim. The betrayal, dude. Wow. Oh, they're not even showing her get stabbed over and over. I was going to say, she got stabbed like a bunch. Look at her now, though. She looks cool. All right, so yeah, I saw that Skin Spotlights uploaded the second cinematic, but I only saw the first part was on the actual Wild Rift channel. But cool, I'm glad I saw that there's a second part to this. So really, yeah, it's basically just her going to the Blessed Isles, or I believe that's what we saw in the first one, and then we're just seeing the betrayal here actually in cinematic form, which is cool. I kind of want like a full thing of her, but I know Kalista's a little bit older, so I'm actually surprised we even got this, but I'm actually glad that they made this for her because she's kind of an OG champion, sort of, and she has like her own book and everything, being in the Ruination book and everything, so I think she's a pretty important character for the world of Runeterra, so I'm glad that she got one of these cinematics for her. All right, speaking of the Ruination book, it looks like there's a trailer for it. Now, is this solely on Kalista? It's got to be like Viego
Camivore,
involved as
an
well,
empire
right?
of conquest, of kings who rule absolute.
Okay.
KALISTA,
There she is, okay.
Spear of the Argent Throne, forswore the life of a princess and vowed to guard her uncle,
Didn't want to be a princess.
King Viego, from any who would do him harm. She thought she succeeded.
Right, she blocked it, but
She could not protect his heart,
okay.
his world.
So this is like from her perspective and everything, the book.
Now she searches for a cure.
I'm
In
assuming.
places of myth and legend.
Okay.
She is not prepared for the darkness she'll bind.
Oh, now see, this makes me want to read the book. Oh, is that Thresh? Oh. See, we haven't done Thresh's backstory yet, so I don't know anything. Oh, this book actually only came out like under 2 years ago. That's crazy. It's so new. Okay, so it says Her Family, Her Fate, and it's called Ruination. So this is from, I assume, Kalista's point of view and everything, and like she's the main protagonist. That makes me really interested in actually picking up this book and reading it. You guys will have to let me know if any of you have read it and like what your thoughts are in the comments on this book, for sure. Please, please, please let me know if I should pick it up or not. All right, let's watch her login screen. It's 2.5 minutes long. Ooh, I like the like ethereal voices we got going on. Super fast paced already. I feel like that's fit for a villain. Well, she's not really a villain, but for like an undead, scary looking person. Oh, we got a choir? It's definitely giving like super eerie vibes for sure. I feel like just like a choir makes everything so epic anytime you have that. Ooh. Dude, this is good. So usually these ones that are like super old, like this one is 9 years old, sometimes they're a little, you know, they're a little iffy. This though is pretty hype. Was that like the French horn? I think that's a French horn coming in. Or it might just be a tuba or something. What, I wonder what the choir is saying. Can we get... No, we don't have subtitles. I'm telling you, the choir adds so much to this song. Like, it's still great melodically and everything, but the choir is like what I'm focusing on. Dude, it's so fast. Do, 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 do. It's almost like, okay, it's giving tragic, but like, no, it's giving vengeance. That's kind of the song that, like the idea that I'm kind of getting from this song. Like so, a tragedy happened and then she's wanting her revenge, right? That's the vibe I'm getting from the song. I wish we had more. I really do. But this is still good. They weren't doing like those super long champion themes like they are now, but this was great. Oh, the ending was perfect. Perfect. Okay, yeah, I mean, if I haven't said it already, favorite part of this song was number one, the choir, the chorus in the back just going crazy, and then how fast-paced the song was. I really, really, like, everything was just erratic and really fast and in your face, and I really liked that, and the choir just added on top of that, right? So I want to hear from you guys, though. Let me know what you think of KALISTA's champion theme or login screen, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, just let me know in the comments. All right, here we are. We made it to KALISTA skins, and she only has 6. Guys, I'm disappointed. Why does KALISTA only have 6 skins? What's going on here? Is she really just not that popular? All right, let's go ahead and view the original in 3D. I will probably just pick my favorite out of the 6 skins. You guys should do the same and let me know what your favorite skin is. All right, here's KALISTA in her, you know, after she's been betrayed and turned into a specter of wrath and retribution, it says up here. I think this is cool. I think she has a great original design on her. She retains her original armor, but it's obviously been like decayed and turned to like black or gray or whatever. And then like her ethereal form here is really cool. And the spear is very menacing as well. All right, next up, it looks like, yeah, the Blood Moon one, which this looked really cool in the little gameplay spotlight we saw. Yeah, I love the Blood Moon skins. We've seen a couple Blood Moon skins. I like the aesthetic of the Blood Moon. I really like the red and how it sticks out. Right now, I'm doing a reaction to Chainsaw Man, so I literally, the one thing I'm thinking of right now because of the red horns is power. But other than that, I like everything. They basically just did the original design. They changed her hair a little bit here, of course, as well, to give it more like the samurai feel. But basically, her skin and everything is the same, but the armor is cooler, in my opinion, because I do really like the red. All right, what do we have now? Worlds 2015. Okay, she got a skin in Worlds 2015. Let's take a look at this one. Ooh, change of the hair again. The spear is now white, and it has a different design on it. What else? Oh, and it does have a chroma. It has a yellow chroma. I don't really like that. I think I like the blue better here. I think I like the skin. I think I might like it better than the original even, but the Blood Moon one, in my opinion, it just has more going on with it to make it cooler looking. This kind of feels like almost too basic to me, but this was a different time. This was Worlds 2015. So let's go ahead and check out the others. Okay, next up we have the SKT one. Oh, we've looked at almost all of these skins at this point. But let's see what we got. I haven't really liked these this theme of skins, but this one, oh, she looks kind of weird. Why is her neck so long like that? I mean, her stance is making her look kind of weird. It's not a terrible skin, but the goggles and then the long neck and everything about it, besides the spear looks really cool. She's in like kind of some cool sneakers and like a hoodie. So I do like that aspect of it. But some of the aspects of it are kind of weird to me. So I think we're going to get some better skins. Let's find out. We have Marauder. Ooh, here we go. This one might be good. We're covering her face completely in this one, but she's looking more villainous and like scary here. Yeah, the red with the dark black armor looks really cool. She doesn't have her spear in her hand this time around. Her claws are kind of scary here. Let's look at any other chromas for it maybe and see if they look any better. I think the red and black is probably going to be the best. That one's okay. Here's more of red, like overall instead of the black. I'm not like the hair at the top isn't my favorite of all of them, but I still think so far, maybe Blood Moon is still the best so far. I really like the armor the most on this one though. All right, last but not least, we have a more recent skin. We have Fairy Court. Okay, I'm glad they gave her Fairy Court because Fairy Court is a very good theme of skins. I haven't disliked really any of them. So let's see what this one looks like. Okay, yeah, this is pretty good. I think I've seen some better Fairy Court skins overall, but they still gave it the fairy flair, but like still gave her really cool armor. I would want to say though, this is more like, this is giving her before she turns into like the Spear of Vengeance, but that's not a bad thing because I think KALISTA before she was turned and like betrayed, like this, she still looks like a really cool design of a champion. Let's see if there's any cool chromas that we can get here. Usually I like the one where they do the multiple colors at the end. I really like this. I think the Fairy Court, while I don't think it's that like huge of a gap between Fairy Court and actually Blood Moon for me, I think Fairy Court is going to win out on this because of the fact that it does have the extra chromas, and I do like that it's a little bit more of a modernized design. But I think Blood Moon would probably be my second favorite skin. I think Fairy Court, I'm glad that she got this Fairy Court theme, and I think this is going to be my favorite skin for KALISTA. I think she needs more though. What do you guys think? All right, let's look at her trivia here. A fully stacked Rend has the highest AD ratio in the game. Now, I don't know if that's still true. That may have been, I mean, who put that in here at what time? Who knows? KALISTA's dance references Oberyn Martell's spear dance from Game of Thrones. Oh, that's very cool. I've watched all of Game of Thrones. KALISTA's champion spotlight was the first to feature the updated Summoner's Rift map. Okay, so that was part of why I watched it, is I tell myself, okay, is it on the latest League of Legends map or is it on the old one? And then I'll watch it. So she was the very first one. The Spear of Vengeance resembles the Arrow of Retribution. Okay, that's Varys. The Black Spear is the third champion unique item, the first being Prototype Hexcore and the second being Bone Tooth Necklace. I don't know what any of that stuff is referring to. Her way of referring to herself in the third person as well as the echo in her voice resembles Ermac from Mortal Kombat. Okay, so that's a hint at something when we're going to get to when we get to her voice lines. Apparently she refers to herself in the third person and there's an echo to her voice. KALISTA targeted many betrayers for execution during the harrowing in 2014. Okay, so she targeted Cassiopeia for backstabbing Sivir, Hecarim for his treachery, of course, LeBlanc for aiding the barbarian invaders against Mordekaiser as well as betraying countless others. Well, that makes sense. Lysandra for murdering Avarosa for her spearheading the rebellion against the Frozen Watchers. Twisted Fate for abandoning Graves. We were getting a lot of like spoilers here right now, but that's okay. To be imprisoned in the locker, KALISTA is trying to convince the outlaw to give in to his hate. Despite being told by the card master he and their crew did try to get him out, reconciling their differences and settling the feud. We'll get to Twisted Fate and Graves in a future reaction. Zereth for plotting against Azir and laying waste to ancient Shurima, and Zed for murdering Shen's father Kusho, slaughtering the Kinko Order, and founding the Order of Shadow over the remains of their monastery. Yeah, okay, so she has a lot of people that she has targeted because of their betrayals and stuff throughout the world of Runeterra. That's cool. I like that we get those references of other betrayals in this world. All right, let's take a look at the Fandom Wiki for KALISTA. There's a few things in here that I think might be new. We have the Invasion of the Blessed Isles and the Spirit of Vengeance paragraphs here. Let's go ahead and read these. In the dungeons, KALISTA was visited by Hecarim, who manipulated her into revealing the location of the Blessed Isles. Also, he could reap glory for himself. Hecarim then told Viego about the information she gave him, which led to the fleets of Camivore sailing to the capital of the Blessed Isles, Helia. However, the elders of the Blessed Isles refused to let the Camivorans pass as they believed that death was final and to cheat it would break the natural order of the world. Viego ignored their warnings and ordered KALISTA to kill them. She refused and tried to get Hecarim to stand by her, or with her, but he and his knights killed her by driving their spears into her back before killing her lover, Ledros, and all the Camivoran soldiers loyal to her. Okay, so that was Ledros we saw in the earlier cinematic. Then they began to raid the Blessed Isles, looting their treasures and killing all of the natives they could find. But thanks to Viego's failed attempt to revive his wife, the Blessed Isles' protective barrier was tainted by the magic of Viego's blade, causing a disaster which turned it into the ghostly realm now known as the Shadow Isles. Okay, that's just a pretty good summary of like KALISTA's involvement and being betrayed here during this whole part of Runeterra. And then we have the Spirit of Vengeance. Many of the people within the Isles of the time of the Ruination, both living and dead, were reborn as ghostly wraiths. Kalista was one such wraith who remembered nothing but her feelings of vengeance toward Hecarim as she died. She became a spirit of vengeance, traveling all over Runeterra to appear before those who made pacts in her name, absorbing their souls to kill the ones whom had betrayed them. But with each soul she absorbed, her humanity disappeared as she became a hive mind of vengeful souls who avenged the wronged across Runeterra. Okay, so she's becoming less human as she gets more and more souls. And also, yeah, the trailer earlier showed her, I believe what looked like Bilgewater, where she was actually reaping vengeance on somebody. And then I see Ledros here has his own little wiki. I'm assuming he also turns into a ghostly spirit. I'm wondering if she's going to have like maybe voice lines with him or what's going to go on with Ledros. Okay, appearance. In life, Kalista was a woman with an athletic physique, brown skin, brown eyes, and long flowing black hair. Her regal Camevoran armor was blue plate with a gold trim. She wore a cloth around the back of her legs and an open-faced helmet with a long dark plume. She wielded a spear. In death, Kalista is a translucent teal spirit. She appears emaciated and hunched with several spectral spears protruding from her torso. Oh, okay, so that's spears in the back. That's what I thought. While her armor remains opaque, it is now black and dark brown with tattered cloth portions. Her spears, which now materialize in her hands, are jagged and spectral. That's a very cool design for her. While being of royal blood, Kalista was surprisingly down to earth in life and had a strong sense of justice. She got along far better with the common foot soldiers in the military than the nobles trying to curry favor with her. She was also depicted as a caring sister figure to a young Viego when he suddenly was to be crowned as king of Camivor and tried to be his emotional and moral support during his reign, with some help from Isolde. I wonder, she looks like she might have been older, but I guess he's technically uncle and she was niece. She just like seemed older, especially by like the way she acts. She acts more like an adult than Viego does. When she became a wraith, Kalista lost much of her humanity, with only the memories of betrayal she had suffered in her life. An intense thirst for revenge persisted, becoming a vengeful spirit. All right, we have abilities. So Wraith. Kalista is one of the Shadow Isles wraiths created when the Ruination came to be. The Black Mist consumes one's original personality, leaving only a specter consumed by negative emotions and obsessions. In Kalista's case, she became a spirit of vengeance after being betrayed in life. That makes sense. Immortality. Being already dead, Kalista can't die again. She can only be banished and lose her material form for a while. Okay. Spiritual construction. Wraiths can create solid constructs from spectral energy, such as bodies and physical objects. These constructs mainly base themselves around how they looked in life. Okay, that's kind of interesting. Transitory state. Being ethereal beings, wraiths can shift from the physical world and spiritual one at will. This means they can become intangible and invisible and teleport from one place to another. That makes sense. Spirit of vengeance. After dying, Kalista became a vengeful spirit that hunts down others that have betrayed their oaths. This grants her many terrible powers, including the Pacts of Vengeance. If someone craving vengeance calls upon Kalista, she will come to their aid and grant them their vengeance, stalking her mark until they die by her spears. And then she has soul absorption. When the pact is done, the dying will be absorbed inside Kalista and become a part of an endless vortex of souls inside of her. I wonder, like, does this do anything for her? Is it making her stronger? I don't really think so. She just gains those memories and stuff. All right, trained warrior. Kalista is an incredible warrior that can easily defeat many foes in battle. Yeah, I mean, she's also trained, right? Okay, we have our relations here, and she has quite a few. That's cool. So we have Viego, of course. Kalista is the Ruined King's niece and was one of his generals in life. Kalista's father was the previous king of Camivor. Viego became the king after his brother died in battle. Despite being her uncle, Kalista and Viego were around the same age, and friends for a long time since he was largely ignored in favor of Kalista's father. When her father died and Viego became king, his negative traits were worsened and they began to drift apart. However, she was still loyal to him. That's what happens when you gain power, right? If you see somebody gain power, they become a different person most of the time. Kalista managed to protect Viego from an assassin, but resulted in Isolde getting poisoned instead. She would set sail in order to find a cure, but found it too late and was imprisoned as a traitor for her failure. She was eventually convinced by Hecarim to lead Viego and their army to the Blessed Isles for the Waters of Life. When the masters of the island refused to let them use the water, Viego ordered her to kill anyone who opposed them. Kalista refused and was stabbed by Hecarim before her forces clashed with the Iron Order. Okay, now we have Commander Ledros. Was her lover in life and is trying to free her soul. Oh, okay. Thresh tried to persuade him to give up trying to free Kalista, and so far has succeeded at obtaining his silver pendant, which Ledros may use to remind Kalista of her humanity, but Ledros instead has tried to end the curse of the Ruination himself. Okay, so he's trying to help Kalista still, like, get her back to maybe human form again. I don't know. We have Hecarim, or maybe just free her to, like, just let this whole like Wraith Spectre thing come to an end, maybe. Hecarim and his Iron Order are now restlessly hunted and killed by her, but they always come back due to the Black Mist. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing's gonna happen there. They can't die, right? Okay, Vladimir. He was soul marked by Kalista, but he was able to banish her with the help of a magical artifact. He was a prince of Camivore and Viego and Callista's distant relative who was centuries old by the time they were born. Right. I remember a little bit of a talk of Kalista when we did our Vladimir reaction a long time ago. Kalista occasionally comes after Tahm Kench. However, he is safe from her due to his contracts with the victims. Oh, huh. I mean, I guess he does betray people a lot. And then we have Rise. In her journey to the Blessed Isles, Kalista crossed paths with Rise during his formative years. Initially, she found the young apprentice brimming with arrogance and entitlement reminiscent of her uncle Viego. Their first encounter ended with Rise's arm twisted, after which Rise started to be far more respectful towards the Camivoran princess. When hearing that Kalista had sacrificed herself in order to give the people of Helya a chance to escape from the invading Camivorans, Rise regretted not having had the opportunity to apologize for their initial meeting. Okay, yeah, Rise had a good journey and he became, I guess, more respectful and he became more mature. But when he first met her, he was a young guy. So, all right, let's see if we missed anything. We have the biography. We watched these videos. There is another short story. This one is probably a long read. It's called In Sight of Land. That one is specifically for Kalista only. There's the short story Roots of Ruin, which includes a lot of people. And then there's, of course, the Ruination novel. There's another short story, including Kalista, called The Daring Darling, which has Kalista and Vladimir. She's in a lot of short stories, guys. And then The Echoes Left Behind also includes Kalista. This one includes Kalista, Ledros, and Thresh. And then we did watch the Pledge cinematic. Trivia. Kalista is between 1,000 and 50 years old, born at some point before the Ruination of the Blessed Isles. She was in her 20s, roughly the same age as Viego during the first Ruination. She's old enough for legends to spread about her across the world. Every place has a different but similar story about summoning her. Yeah, I guess word of mouth had to have spread for all these people to just be like, I summon you, you know, Spear of Vengeance to get revenge on this person or whatever, right? So like that has to be something around all of the world of Runeterra for people to know about her. According to Viego's biography, her kingdom was from an unknown continent outside of the known map. The Spear of Vengeance, the Spectre Kalista became after the Ruination, is a hive mind of betrayed souls, hence she referring to herself as we, while Kalista herself is buried deep beneath them all, with every new soul bearing her ever deeper within the entity she has become. Oh, very little of who she once was remains, but it surfaces occasionally. Ledros almost managed to free her from her curse. Kalista is one of the strongest characters from Runeterra, being basically the avatar of vengeance at this point. Okay, I wonder where she lies on Necrit's power level video. I haven't seen it in a long time, so you guys maybe have to let me know. She would feel all sorts of things in the moments when she is more lucid: remorse, anger, regret, sadness, grief, and rage. Yeah. Her spears are the spectral remnants of the way she was originally murdered. She would have used a spear in life. She was a heroic leader. Think of her as having been kind of female and honorably Achilles. Okay. Kalista is a lawful neutral character who acts according to both her drive to enact vengeance on betrayers and her own law. Her alignment depends on one's perspective. It's all in the eye of the beholder. To some, she would be seen as evil because she is an undying spirit, full stop. However, she was a hero in life and very much an honorable one at that. She didn't ask to become what she is and is now consumed with enacting vengeance. So to some, she might be seen as an avenger, a spirit of justice. To those she is pursuing, they'd probably think she is evil. She certainly couldn't be bargained or argued with, and she'd see things very much in black and white. What if someone did do a horrible betrayal but has a tone for it? She'd not be bothered with those kind of details. I love people adding these notes in here on Kalista. She'd be very black and white. It is possible, even if someone may have a very good reason for betraying someone, in her eyes, just the fact that there is betrayal may damn them in her eyes. She is also very focused. She's not an indiscriminate killer and would not destroy everything in her path to get to her target. She's got all the time in the world. She's not exactly got to worry about aging anymore, so she can be a patient in order to get her target without involving unnecessary deaths. And then it says Kalista can travel mystically across Valorant, and there's no escaping her once she's got her target without using powerful spirit magic, as Vladimir did in the story The Daring Darling. Which, okay, so the story of the Daring Darling must be when she gets banished by the artifact that Vladimir uses. And then I also believe probably this one, The Echoes Left Behind, is probably the story about Kalista, Ledros, and Thresh, and like Ledros trying to free her from this pain. That's going to be my guess. The Roots of Ruin story and the Insight of Land one, I'm not quite sure what those are about, but if you guys want to let me know, I don't want to read like every short story for her. That'd be like a 2-hour video at this point. So you guys let me know. All right, everybody, we do have some Legends of Runeterra voice lines for KALISTA. She must have been one of them that was like included in the game originally when Legends of Runeterra first came out. This is a little bit of an older video from Skin Spotlight, so their format is a little weird, but let's go ahead and just see what voice lines we get from KALISTA.
So much pain.
Okay, we have
for
Draven.
simple amusement.
Ah, the
Baby,
echoes.
I'm the best show in town.
Okay, Draven.
Soon
Hecarim?
you shall face punishment, Hecarim.
Oh.
Not today.
Whoa, his voice.
We can give you vengeance.
I'll find vengeance on my own.
She wanted to help him, though.
Call on us, and you shall have your vengeance.
Okay.
This is my fight.
Yeah, so these are examples of her calling herself we and us
We
here.
have all learned hard lessons, Lucian.
Leave before I teach you another.
He does not want help from her.
The dying curse your name above all other thresh.
Good.
Thresh's response is good there.
I've been waiting for you, coward.
I killed you once. I'll do so again.
I mean, you both can't even die anymore.
KALISTA, I'm here to return my spear.
Ah.
Soon enough, Hecarim.
I like that response.
No backstabbing. I'll face you as you die.
Hey, no backstabbing.
Stop me then. You can't now.
I mean, you backstabbed her, bro. Come on.
Your spirit burns with sorrow.
Me? You got the wrong lady.
Nope. Nope, we know.
Have you met my
We definitely know, Jink. Okay, Ledros.
My sweet. Finally, you found peace.
Oh, she doesn't respond in these. Okay.
I will find you.
But we still get to see what he says. I will find you in the next life. Oh, that's so sad. Phantom Prankster.
we go?
Oh, that's
They
scary.
shall suffer even as we fall.
This is if an ally arrives. Okay.
Oh, it's playtime.
I do not like that card. Hello.
Bring your dark magic, girl.
Scribe of
Sorrow without
Sorrows.
action is weakness.
I kind of like that voice line.
The journey ahead is long.
You shall have more to guide soon.
I really like how like she sounds pretty scary, KALISTA.
Walk with us, shepherd.
Kindler.
Then kindle anew.
Light a candle for every betrayal, and the world burns.
So many echoes when
Victory
she talks.
requires
It's
a
crazy.
sharp blade.
We'll show you what you see, and its cost.
They grow up so
I
fast.
feel like there's always a cost if you're dealing with KALISTA, right? All right, so I thought these were pretty decent. I really love that we got some voice lines with Hecarim. She didn't technically have any with Ledros, but Ledros isn't an actual champion in the game, so I guess I understand that. But I do think she needs more, of course. I think, honestly, why doesn't she have like an interaction with Viego? I don't know if they added more interactions for her in League of Legends. I doubt it. I think we're only going to have like the super old voice lines. I haven't looked yet, but I'm just glad that, you know, Legends of Runeterra, again, I've said this before in the past, I'm just glad that we were able to get more voice lines out of Riot and League of Legends when they added Legends of Runeterra to their roster of games. Because again, Legends of Runeterra added so much lore when it decided to add voice lines into their game. And it just made Riot go back to some of their champions and be like, hey, we need to put some voice lines in. If we're going to have KALISTA in our game, she's going to need voice lines. And we're not just going to run back and just reuse the old ones from like 9 years ago. So I'm really glad that we did get some more voice lines. I'm excited to see what we get. I really like what they did with her in the terms of like she speaks in the third person, or like she speaks of we or us, because it really is no longer just Kalista inside there anymore. She's at the very bottom technically, and she's just being overcome by like all these other souls that she keeps grabbing at this point. But it is still Kalista at the end of the day. She just might not have full control anymore. All right, let's see if we can find any more voice lines for her. Hopefully there are some to check out. All right, we do have a 9-minute video of Kalista's voice lines. This is from 9 years ago, so at least we do have 9 minutes worth of this. So let's check this out.
Our will is one. Yes, punish the betrayers.
Our will.
Our instincts align. You strengthen us. You share in our success.
So when she does
We
grab
will
a soul, it does
remember
seem like
your
she gets
loyalty.
strengthened from it.
Traitors,
Maybe.
it is time. You will never suffer enough. We see their guilt. Bleed, betrayer.
Bleed.
You are condemned.
I love that.
You have earned your fate. So
Okay.
your treachery ends. Pluck them from their reverie. Know
Ooh.
your folly. Your death has been ordained.
She's definitely speaking like somebody who's like 1,000 years old, I feel like.
We will claim you. Be
We will
judged.
claim you. That's scary.
Our spears shall find you. We have no mercy. They disgust us. None can evade us.
She definitely speaks as like someone that's like submitting justice or like getting vengeance on someone. Like that's literally all these voice lines at this point.
Retribution approaches. Accept no contrition. We shall pierce their treasonous hearts.
Pierce their treasonous hearts.
Abomination. The Baron must die.
The Baron
You
must die.
shall
Okay.
aid our cause, dragon.
These are, yeah.
Servants are creatures of betrayal.
I was gonna say these are the creatures in
Bring
the
dragon
game on the map.
down. Its edge is keen as the spear's tip. So shall others feel the bite of steel.
Ooh, the way she said
This
bite.
sharpens our focus. Our spears heed no armor.
Our spears,
Nothing
you know,
can
armor
protect
is
them
crazy
from
good.
Our retribution. We will pierce their souls. Our need goes deeper than blood.
Okay.
As they weaken, so shall we grow stronger.
There it is. Okay.
Feed our cause.
Feed our
Foul
cause.
sorcery shall not deter us.
Huh.
We will not be impeded. We will not be at the mercy of those who hide behind magic.
Ooh.
Once, he was a noble king.
Okay.
Until grief overcame his
Talking about
reason.
Viego.
In the end, it was not his blade that stole our lives. As once it symbolized hope, so now shall it incite despair.
True.
You shall be avenged.
Okay.
Your killers will be punished. We shall bring your killers to their knees.
I mean, I believe her when she says that. Oh, these are death noises now. Okay. Attack noises. I think the voice actress did a really good job with Kalista.
Oathbreakers and betrayers. We hate them all. The blood of kith and kin stains their hands. There can be no justice, only revenge.
Ooh, no justice,
Familiar
only revenge
suffering.
is good.
We know this place. The dead feel not the cold.
True.
Serpent, we sense your disgrace. You too shall have a blade in your back, snake.
Ooh.
No such snake shall go unpunished.
What's with the snake talk? Who's she talking to?
Taste your anger, Graves.
Graves. Oh, was that
You have
Cassiopeia maybe
only to
earlier?
Speak our name.
Ooh.
Give in to your hate, Graves.
Oh, she's convincing Graves to like try and summon her.
Twisted fate.
Oh, here we
your
go.
Hour approaches. You are a vile betrayer, Cardmaster. There is no loss greater than betrayal, Varus.
Okay.
Your
Varus.
retribution lacks aim. Varus.
Ah, okay,
You
I got
have
that.
pledged yourself to a false agent, Varus. There will be no escape.
Calling the Darkin a false agent?
I said no escape!
Oh,
We
oh, that's
act
scary.
as 1, 2, 3. Cease this! Nothing
She would have been counting forever.
shall distract. Hey, hey, hey! Our spears are precise. We never miss. Our aim does not falter.
Okay. Ooh. Little ghostly laugh.
We are vengeance.
That's a solid voice line. We are vengeance. Straight
All
up is
things
scary.
have consequence. One thought drives us. Promises
Vengeance?
must be kept. We are set in motion.
Okay.
We can be anywhere.
True.
What is started will be finished.
You know, she's been saying that kind of thing over and over. What we started will be finished. It'll be done. That kind of stuff. Because I feel like if she's summoned to kill somebody, I feel like she's going to fulfill
Our
that.
task is unending. KALISTA. Yes, that was our name. Our hatred
Ooh,
burns
that's so
cold.
interesting.
We never rest. Know our pain. Know our truth. The wounds of betrayal never heal. We remain true.
The wounds of betrayal never heal. If you're betrayed, this goes for real life too. I feel like you kind of never heal from something like that, right?
To our purpose.
Or it's very hard
We
to.
go where we are needed. Nothing shall turn us from our path. We are called elsewhere.
Okay.
I must remember.
Ooh, Kalista coming out.
Trust is a weapon. Nothing is more heinous than treachery. We began as one. Back to back we stood. We had a name once. We trusted.
I love like seeing this little bit come out of like thinking about Kalista here.
This land was so beautiful. Know that we shall return. We must attend to other matters.
Okay.
We are one now. We have heard your plea. Our retribution shall be swift. Blood seals our pact.
Yep.
Our fates are intertwined. Do not forsake us as he did.
Ooh.
The oath has been taken. Vengeance is at hand. The pact is made.
Okay, these are all the little
pact
packs you make
remains
probably with your teammates.
unfulfilled. Bind us. We are unbound. Thus is our vengeance exacted.
Okay.
Your pain is no more than a trifle to us. Feel our hate. It is not yet your time. They shall not have you. Our bond preserves you.
Okay, there's the
Weep.
bond again.
Die.
Weep, die. Oh, oh,
Fall.
oh. That got real serious real fast.
Find them. Be our eyes. Go.
Oh, that's the specter or spectral
No
little
risk.
thing, the sentinel that you can send out.
Now. Crawl. We are not finished with you. Return our spear. You will be taken.
Ooh.
You could never bear our burden. Let's
Okay.
see how many spears you can endure.
Ooh.
Soft are the targets of our spears today. You toy with powers you do not comprehend, Death Singer.
Death
Death is
Singer.
not solely
Death Sayer?
your purview, Karthus. Only a fool
Oh,
would
Karthus.
embrace death, Karthus.
Karthus interactions. Okay, we don't know anything about
see
him.
your deception, Ice Witch.
Lysandra.
Your duplicity ends here, Lysandra.
Okay.
We see through you, Ice Witch. To our side. It is yours.
Now, these voice lines were obviously before Viego was in the game, so...
Claim your due. Ha! 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 We trust nothing to chance. We are always aware.
The we is so... Like, if somebody talks about themselves in the we, that's kind of scary to me, I feel like. All right, I think that's it. All right, this was actually a pleasant surprise in my opinion. Now, this is an old Skin Spotlights video, not like their newer special interactions videos where we actually get to see who they're interacting with. So I kind of had to guess a little bit there on who she was talking to. But, you know, we had some context clues and everything like that. These were pretty good for 9-year-old voice lines. I will say, generally, when the voice lines or the champion is this old, I'm a little hesitant on what we're going to get. It might be 3 minutes long. It might be, you know, 5 minutes. But 9 minutes of voice lines, pretty damn good, actually. And I'm not going to complain. I really liked these voice lines. I think the idea of her being like an inevitable force, which is what we got a lot in her voice lines, right? She was like, we are coming for you. We will get our retribution. We will get vengeance. Like, she's very like matter-of-factly, this thing is going to happen because she literally is the Spear of Vengeance. And if a pact is made, she will fulfill that pact. And I think that was like the majority of the voice lines I think that we got. And I think they were really well done and everything like that. And I do think some of the more interesting voice lines that we did get, which was mentioned in the Fandom Wiki, but the fact that like Kalista sort of comes out in like maybe 2 or 3 voice lines. But the fact that it's only 2 or 3 voice lines goes to show how little she actually like is still there, right? Like, I think that goes to show she is completely buried underneath all of these other souls that have been consumed. Her personality, her name is being lost the longer she stays as the Spear of Vengeance and the longer she keeps consuming souls and everything. But it is still very cool to have. It adds to her character and her lore that I think that Kalista is still somewhat in there. And it still gives maybe like Ledros hope, or even me hope, that maybe one day Kalista will be restored or something in the future. Back to her normal self, right? And of course, Viego being, you know, a newer champion now, you know, after, and I wonder if like that was their goal in the future, to fully flesh out Viego as a champion when Kalista was written a long time ago. I have no idea, but the fact that she came out way before Viego, of course, we're not going to see any of those voice lines in here just yet, but it would really be cool to see like an interaction between Kalista specifically and Viego. I know Viego, I'm sure, has an interaction with Kalista, and I probably saw that in the Viego reaction I did already, but you know, I kind of want Kalista's take on Viego and the whole thing that happened during the Ruination event. It would be really cool to get kind of her perspective. But of course, maybe we just need to read the Ruination book. That is definitely a book I should probably pick up off the shelves and get to reading. You guys let me know about that book, though, if you've read it. And so there were a lot of short stories. There's like maybe 3 or 4 short stories that we actually did not read for Kalista because it would just make this video like 2.5 hours long. And it'd be a lot of reading for me. So I personally didn't want to do it. But if there's anything that I should take from those short stories and that you guys want to let me know, please let me know in the comments. Kalista seems like she's got a lot of lore around her. She's a pretty important champion when it comes to the whole like Camivore, Runeterra, Viego. Like the whole story of Kalista is pretty important, and the idea of betrayal. And she is the like avatar or spirit of vengeance in this world. So, and she can be summoned as an act of vengeance in this world of Runeterra. So she's going to be around for a very long time. I do love to talk about where the champion could go in the future. I really think they're probably not going to do anything with Kalista's lore anytime soon. She's probably going to stay as the avatar or Spear of Vengeance for the rest of eternity, to be honest, because she kind of fits that role perfectly. And I think we kind of need a avatar of vengeance in the world of Runeterra because that's pretty cool, I guess. I don't think they're going to do anything to her. She has a very sad story of being betrayed by somebody she trusted, Hecarim, and Viego and everything. And just like, it's kind of a tragic story, but I don't think they're going to do anything with her lore. I think it's actually perfectly fine where it's at. I really do love that there is a book for her, and maybe I'm totally wrong and I need to read the book, and maybe they might do something with her lore in the future because of that book. As of now, my take is I think her lore is perfectly fine where it is, and I don't think anything needs to be changed to her. All right, guys, that's another reaction in the books. Please leave a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Check out the other videos on the channel as well, and I'll see you guys in the next reaction. Bye.